Okay, I'm back, and now we're ready for another science topic, and this one is how to solve problems, how to solve word problems. And so here's a general strategy. Now, you don't have to use all of these parts of this strategy whenever you're solving a word problem, but keep them in mind. So the first one is to read the question carefully. So what I have written up here is a typical word problem that you might have in a physics class. So it says that a car travels 10 meters in 5 seconds. What is its average velocity? So read the question carefully because, for example, in this one it says 10 meters, but maybe it was in English units and maybe it traveled 10 feet in 5 seconds. So if you see that word feet, you know that you're going to need to change that into official metric units if you want the average velocity to be in official metric units. Okay, then visualize the problem. So perhaps you can see in your mind's eye this car traveling 10 meters in 5 seconds. You might even want to make a picture of what is going on here. So next we're going to strategize. How are we going to go about solving this word problem? So we're going to first find the solution, okay, and so write down what you are given. So we are given 10, and then we need to put the units on there. So don't just say the number 10. So I'm going to put an M next to it because M stands for meters. Okay, then another piece of information that we're given is the 5 seconds. So I'll put down 5 and then an S for seconds. And then I'm going to put down a question mark because that's the thing I'm going to be looking for. Okay, then the next step is to use the units from what you just wrote down here to figure out what's the abbreviation for the quantities that it represents. So 10 meters is a distance. And so we're going to find out that distance, I'm going to use the letter R to represent distance. And then seconds is a unit of time. So the abbreviation for time is going to be the letter T. And then the word problem says find the average velocity. So velocity is going to be V, and then if I want, I could put a subscript on there and say the word average because there's a different formula for actually coming up with the real speed of the object. So this is going to be the average speed of the object. Okay, then find the formula that connects the letters. So now that we've got these 3 letters, R, T, and V, do we have a formula that connects them? Well, if you take a physics class, you would learn that the average velocity of something is going to be equal to the distance it travels divided by the amount of time it takes it to do it in. Okay, now we want to, next it says to estimate the answer. So before you even do the math, estimate what the answer is. So can you visualize something that could travel 10 meters, which would be about 30 feet in English units, in 5 seconds? So would that be traveling fast or would it be traveling slow? Relatively slow. So we're not talking about for example, a race car. Okay, so this is going to be relatively slow. So now we're going to plug in the numbers and then solve. So instead of the letter R, we're going to put the 10, and instead of the letter T, we're going to put the 5. Now if you want, you can put the units in there. So you could put 10M and then 5S in there if you want, but you don't have to. So the important thing is that once you get your final answer, which is 10 divided by 5 is going to be 2, then you do have to put the units in there. So it's going to be 2 and then meters, because the m would be up here, and then divided by seconds, so that the average speed of this car is going to be 2 meters per second. Okay, then check your answer. Does it make sense? So 2 meters per second, it's not too large, so we're not talking about a race car here, so that seems pretty good. And then also check your units, meters per second, to make sure that the units are correct. Because if the units are not correct, if meters per second is not the official unit for velocity, then that means you did something wrong. If you don't get this unit for this thing over here. Okay, and then understand the significance. So what is the significance of this car traveling at this speed? Well, it's not traveling too fast, it's not traveling too slow. Another thing that you might get from it is that perhaps the speed is constant. Maybe the speed is changing. So that would be some of the significance of that. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk about the metric system.